process, right? And you are using your knowledge, your tools to help a company solve a problem. So that's exactly how we'll frame it. Like, we won't lie about the fact, or we won't hide the fact that this is in progress. And like, you are going through the learning experience, building your expertise through it. So we'll frame it in that way. Like, I'm doing this right now, but here
Right.
is some stuff that I have done along the way. Like, like, I faced this issue with the front and back end integration. I was doing debugging along the way, stuff like that. Exactly what we discussed, basically.
Right.
Right. So you said it's been a couple of months. So March, February.
It would be, yeah, it would be March.
Okay, March. And then let's see, you got the correct me if I'm saying this certification name wrong, by the way. It was the JavaScript full stack web development certification, right?
Yes. Well, that was just the certificate I got from the school.
Okay, perfect. Like, I just want to make sure that we have that right. So you got that
Yeah.
from the Origin Academy, September 2018. So between September of last year and March, you were doing a lot of projects on your own, right?
Yeah. I coded every single day.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow. I'm honestly I'm worried for you, Jimmy. When did you sleep?
That's what my wife worries about too.
Well, you got
I
two
don't.
people worrying about you now.
Well, I can operate. I don't need a whole lot of sleep. I think, as I
That doesn't
understand
help.
sleep, people. I don't know. I don't require as much because even when I worked with my plumbing company, I worked 18 years doing it 6 days a week.
Oh
Probably about 10
wow.
of those years, I worked 7 days a week, and I went to school 3 nights a week, and I got my English associate's degree in that time. I also got
Oh
drafted to play
wow.
in 2 pro hockey leagues,
Oh wow.
and I ran a t-shirt company for a short stint. So I've always been busy, and I think I work best under those conditions.
Wow. Wow. Like, yeah, then programming is kind of up your alley then. Um
It's part and parcel, yeah.
um, okay, so what are some of the projects that you've done on your own?
Just like when you asked about the social networking app, that was just for fun. We had moved up to Orange County, and it was something to just
Okay.
keep contacts with my friends. But it was all of which is just to practice with different technologies and different approaches, and using the same skills but integrating them in different ways.
Okay. So the whole goal is that you connect, you stay like, is this something like Facebook? Like, like, what's a comparison point in terms of what it
Exactly,
goes?
like a, yeah, just like a mini Facebook that's localized to just a specific group of people, just friends from my old town.
Okay, group of people. Um, what was the most difficult part of developing this particular app?
It was it was pretty basic on the whole. I didn't have too many hiccups with that particular project because putting that one together was at a point where it was more seamless building that.
Hmm, hmm.
It was things I
Um,
was more familiar with. I guess
okay.
grasping React hooks and the
Hmm.
deviation away from class-based components where sometimes you get so much nested logic it gets more difficult to read. Whereas when you look at something built with the React hooks, I think
Hmm.
for a developer coming on beyond that, it'd be easier to piece together what's going on.
Oh, okay, okay. And then, regarding this point that you have, that you used custom middleware for user authentication with JWT. Why was there this need? Like, how did that come about?
I wanted to go with less dependencies on other technologies because, as I mentioned, they do change quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
And like you can do Google OAuth where you log in with Google and you can go in with your Gmail address.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, with that, it's a dependency on using Passport. And
Oh.
like I said, the custom middleware is I wrote how people would register themselves with username and password, and then the login. Like that's the authentication flow. And the only
Mm-hmm.
dependency I have in there is the JSON web tokens, and that's how they track the user through the browser.
Mm-hmm.
So with that custom middleware, that's the only dependency there is. Whereas if you're using Passport, which relies on 5 other dependencies, and it's just cutting down room for error.
I love it. That's a very nice way of putting it. Any particular thing to be noted about the user interface? Like, that you can say like, oh, this is how I kind of made it easier or better for the end users?
And well, the honest answer to that is I typically go by what other people use as best practices, more of a template as far as design.
I love it. That's good. That's a good point.
Right. Well, for me, it was more important to be comfortable with the functionality of programming. And so design and the way it looks is where I've spent probably the least amount of time.
But like you said, you were following best practices to ease the way.
Exactly.
Lovely. That works. That's very good. Okay, so that is one good. That's one project. Which other projects did you do during the same period? Movie Finder?
That was a part of a school project.
Okay. Weather app?
That was part of the school projects as well.
Hold on. Let me just keep marking these so that I know to come back to them. Okay, so weather app. The MailChimp newsletter sign up?
That was a project I did off of a tutorial just to become familiar with MailChimp and email technologies.
Okay, so you did this on your own. This is not academic.
No, yeah, on my own.
Okay, so what was the purpose of this particular application? Is it oh god, what's that thing called where like you get all your news sources on one web page or something?
Like a BuzzFeed or?
I'm honestly forgetting that there's this one app where you can like sign up to like as many blogs and news sources as you want. So when you want information, you just open that one app and you get everything in one place. So you don't have to jump. And you know what? I'm getting distracted. What was the purpose of this app?
Only to broaden my knowledge base.
I meant like, what was the purpose of the app itself? Like, what was the point of it? If somebody uses the app, what would it do? What's its functionality?
So if let's say I had people that were coming to visit where they could sign up and I can send out a newsletter whenever need be, and it would send it out to the clients or whoever signed up.
Okay, so sort of like making a mailing list?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. What was the hard part about this particular app development?
Goodness.
Was it learning a new technology? Was the application implementation buggy? Oh, sorry.
Everything went good. Actually, MailChimp was pretty easy to work with.
So, did you have to make a landing page then where people can come and sign up?
Yeah, it's the page itself. If I don't have it deployed, so we can't just bring it up.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's very simple. I can deploy it, I suppose, and have someone can click on it and visit the site for themselves.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Like it can just serve as an example. Like this is something I've done. Here's you can call it a demo version even. Like like this is something that I used as part of my company. I can't share the specifics of my business, but here's a demo version of what I made. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, okay, good. So just so that I'm clear, the whole purpose of this particular app was, um, it is you sending out periodic newsletters to your customers, and you're giving them what kind of information? Like there's a discount, what kind of services you're offering?
Well, because if I was gonna use something for myself, it would be I'm looking. I'd like to be able to get into like making tutorials and like YouTube videos to help teach certain technologies. Let's say React, because for a lot of people it's difficult wrapping their head around the state management. And I'd like to
Mhm.
make some tutorials with that. In which case, I would have necessity for a newsletter application like the one I built to let people know that something new is coming out, or I just put it up on YouTube or something. But that would be the purpose of that.
Okay, okay. All right, I can work with that. And then the Lyric Finder app.
And that was just to practice
Uh-huh.
working with APIs and being able to pull information from a RESTful API.
Okay. Um. How would the app?
Well, one question I do have, because I did put up quite a few projects, and I was wondering if I should just put up maybe 3 or 4 of the highest quality I have, where I can go in a real amount of depth into them, because there's some projects on here that I would just look at it as they're just a bit on the basic side,
Mm-hmm.
like the lyric
I would
finder.
I would like as much information as possible. And then
Okay.
I do plan to do what you said. Like, there are some basic ones in here. So I'll just combine those into one bullet. Like, that built an app to do using these tools. Um, like, like just to show, like, hey, this is like I have this basic understanding.